Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 5th of September today, and today we are going to derive some prelims based questions from these articles which are on the slide right now. Actually, we had taken these articles from the newspaper. These are the most important articles which were relevant for you guys. If you are the first time visitor of this channel, then let me introduce this initiative to you guys. Every day we discuss three types of questions in this video. The first set of questions is related to the current affairs. So we take up the most important articles from the current affairs and little bit discuss them and derive some prelims based questions from them. After that, we discuss few static portion topic. If you had been with me, you would know that we had recently started discussing Indian polity, and for that we had used the Lakshmikant as our source. So today we are going to discuss the classification of the constitution. After that, at the end of the session, we will discuss few previous year questions. With this, I would like to start our discussion today. Before we start, I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited. And also please do write these questions on some notebook. Please note these questions so that when you revise these questions, when your exams would be near, it will help you revising your current affairs, as well as your it will give you the confidence for your next exam. So let's start our discussion by the first article. It is about the Tripura Peace Accord, which was signed. It was signed between Government of India, the Government of Tripura, and two insurgent groups, which were very much active there. Who are these two insurgent groups which are active there? It is NLFT and ATTF. We will discuss about them when the question come because they are in the questions. So, what was the reason? Here, what was the reason for this Tripura Peace Accord? Because we should know that Tripura, because of its demography, because of its location, it was very much sensitive to this Naxalism, very much sensitive to these insurgencies. There were insurgencies since before the independence itself. But from the 1980s, these insurgencies grew to the highest level, but because of the by the help of the Indian government, by the help of the Indian securities, this was very much controlled. And in 2015 itself, the Tripura was declared as APSPA free, APSPA free state in Northeast. It was the first state on which the APSPA was removed. So this is about Tripura, and recently this accord was signed between Government of India, Government of Tripura, and these two insurgent groups, which is NLFT and ATTF. So we'll see about this. We will derive some prelims-based question on this. More about Tripura. We should know that earlier it joined with India in 1948. It was earlier given the type C statehood. After that, it achieved as it was recognized as the union territory, and in 1992 itself it was given the full statehood. You know what is the cause of the insurgencies in it? Because of their fear for the demography. They believe that those illegal refugees or refugees coming from the eastern Pakistan, then or Bangladesh now can dilute their population there, and they feel their demography will come under threat. So this, and also because of the development issues, these things do come, these insurgencies do increase in this region. And what are the key provisions of this accord? Two things which are to be discussed in this are: first one, all the cadres have officially surrendered, and they had showed their faith in the Indian democracy. They had surrendered, they had given up their weapons. And second, Indian government has promised special development package for Tripura, which is 250 crore. So this is in nutshell what we need to know about the Tripura peace accord. Now let us see what question can be derived from this article. You know, I would again repeat one thing here. The purpose of this discussion is not to discuss the news analysis itself, but the purpose is to discuss the questions which can be derived from these news articles. So remember this purpose. Sometimes you may feel that we are not discussing the news articles in a detailed manner. The reason is we are discussing actually question analysis here. We are discussing the prelims based questions here, not the news analysis. But we try our best to bring the most important points which are relevant for you, so that if you don't read the newspaper, at least you will have some idea about the news itself, about the current affairs. The second article which was in the news, which was very much circulating, is about the Great Nicobar project. With this we should know that there is an organization which is abbreviated as ANIIDCO, ANIDCO. What is its full form? It is Andaman and Nicobar Island Integrated Development Corporation. Why this was in news? Because government of India and the Niti Aayog is pushing, they had pushed the Great Nicobar Island Development Project. Now, this agency, which is ANIIDCO, which is ANIDCO, they are executing this project in the Andaman and Nicobar Island. They are this semi-government organization is responsible for the development of Andaman and Nicobar Island. But there are various concerns related to this Great Nicobar project, especially with respect to the environment, with respect to the tribes living in this area, especially of Nicobarese and Shompen. These are two tribes which are located in this region. So it is said that it may dilute their rights, it may dilute their demography, and also it may harm their self-interests. And also this region is a hotbed for, it is the hotspot for biodiversity, and it is believed that when this project is framed, these environment concerns are not taken into the consideration. So there are some issues with respect to this Great Nicobar project. This project is very much ambitious project for India itself. It is very much ambitious. It is very much useful for our strategic importance in the world. It is very much useful for our security and maritime security for us. So there are many ways we can there are many importance for this Great Nicobar project, but there are some concerns also. Concerns are with respect to the environment and with respect to the tribals living there. After that, there was another article. It is about the death for rape. Actually, West Bengal government, we saw that in Kolkata there was a brutal rape and murder of a lady doctor there. Unfortunately, with respect to that, the West Bengal government, they had brought up the bill which is Aparapti Woman and Child West Bengal Criminal Laws Amendment Bill 2024, or we can say West Bengal Criminal Laws Amendment Bill 2024. What it is going to amend two important laws in the Indian Constitution. One is the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita and POSCO. For that presidential accent will be needed, but right now they are going to amend it, and they are going to give a death penalty for the rapist. So here the question arises: is the death penalty for a rapist a valid answer to it? Can giving this death penalty reduce the rape cases in our country? If we will look at the data in our country, it is said that after every 1 hour, 4 girls are raped in our country. So there is huge concern with respect to this issue. So there are various comments with respect that who believe that if the extreme options are in a country, if the extreme punishments are in a country like in Saudi Arabia and other Arabian countries, then these rapes can be controlled. But for this, there was a committee formed, which is Justice Verma committee. They believe that even though if you go for the extreme punishment, for example, death of the rapist, but penalty for the rapist, but still there are cases, which still the rapes would be there. In nutshell, what this Justice Verma committee wanted to say that even though how brutal the punishment would be, these crimes would still be there, because we can learn from our history. In the history itself, there were brutal punishments for some certain types of crimes, but still those crimes used to happen. And even in the Middle East, these crimes do exist, maybe at lower rate, but they do exist. So, according to them, death penalty is not the answer. But what is the answer? According to them, this misogynistic approach, the patriarchal society, patriarchy society, the patriarchy thinking which we have in our society, that should be removed, that should be sanitized. By that only we can reduce this sort of crimes in our country. So with respect to that, we will see how question can be formed in the prelims. After that, we had another article with respect to the landslides in Nagaland. We will discuss with respect to this. We will discuss geological survey of India. What does it say about the landslides? Which areas of our country are more prone to landslides? After that, there was a report from the International Labour Organization which said that due to the implementation of AI, there has been loss in the labor market. We will discuss about that report, and we need to know. After that, there was a news about the Boko Haram. It is a militant organization which is working in the Western Africa. They had attacked in Nigeria and killed hundreds of people. So we'll discuss about it. And finally, we will discuss our static topic, which is classification of the Constitution according to the Lakshmi Kant book. And finally, at the end of this discussion, we will discuss few previous year questions. Now, this was in nutshell about the news analysis today. I hope you had understood it. I will again repeat that the purpose is not to discuss the news analysis, but the purpose is to discuss the questions which can be framed from these articles. We take up this thing here to only give you the context behind what is the context behind the questions which we discuss here, and also we take up the most important points from the news analysis, so that if you had not read your newspaper today, at least you will get the idea what was in the newspaper. With this, let's move to our first question on these issues. The first question is about which of the following statements is are correct regarding the Tripura Peace Accord. First statement: the Tripura Peace Accord was signed between the Government of India and the All Tripura Tiger Force, which is ATTP, ATTF, and National Liberation Front of Tripura, and Tripura government itself. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement. It was signed between the Tripura government, it was signed between the Government of India and these two insurgent groups, which is NLFT and ATTF. Second statement: the accord aims to address the demands for greater development in Tripura, and all the cadres have officially surrendered. 100% correct. This is one of the provision of this accord. Third, as part of the accord, the Tripura tribal areas and autonomous district councils will have increased powers and financial autonomy. Even though we did not discuss it, it was not the part of this accord. So this is partially correct, partially incorrect. So we will, with respect to this recent accord, it is incorrect. Coming to the statement 4, the accord includes provisions for the rehabilitation of former insurgents and support for their reintegration into the society. 100% correct. So with this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, and statement 4. Coming to the other question, which is about the ANIDCO, which is Andaman and Nicobar Island Integrated Development Corporation. It is associated with which of the following projects? Is it associated with Chandrayaan 3? No. Is it associated with Gaganyaan mission? No. Is it associated with border village development in Ladakh? No. Then it is definitely associated with the Greater Nicobar project, because the main function of this organization is to go for the development of Andaman and Nicobar Island. And about this, it is a semi-government organization. We should know that very well. After that, it was, and also this ANIDCO, it was established in 1988. Now moving to the other question here, it says the Justice Verma Committee formed in 2012 was instrumental in shaping the discourse on the criminal justice system in India, particularly concerning the punishment for rape. Which of the following statements accurately reflect the recommendations made by the Justice Verma Committee regarding the punishment of rape? First statement: the committee recommended the introduction of the death penalty as a mandatory punishment for all cases of rape. Totally incorrect. It did not recommend it. In fact, it was opposing the death penalty. Second statement: the committee suggested increasing the minimum punishment for rape and allowing for the death penalty only in the most aggravated cases. 100% correct. Correct statement. Cases related to the minors, cases related to the gang rapes, they were treated. The punishment for them is death penalty according to this. So second statement is correct. Statement 3: the committee proposed that the punishment for rape should be limited to imprisonment without the possibility of parole. 100% incorrect. Statement 4: the committee advocated for a revision of rape laws to focus primarily on rehabilitative measures rather than punitive ones. Totally incorrect. So with respect to this, this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement. Correct statement is statement 2 only. Now moving to the another question here, it talks about according to the Geological Survey of India, which of the following is most prone areas to landslides? Northeast Himalaya is the most prone area to the landslides. After Northeast Himalaya, it is Northwest Himalayas. After Northwest Himalayas, it is Western Ghats, and after Western Ghats, it is Eastern Ghats. So if we will look at the particular way this question can be answered, it is Northeast Himalayas. If we look at the descending order, then the descending order is given in a way like they are given. For example, most prone is Northeast Himalaya, then Northwest Himalaya, then Western Ghats, and then Eastern Ghats. After that, let's go to the another question. It talks about the Boko Haram recently seen in news is a militant organization functioning in which part of the world? Is it Central Asia? No. Is it South America? No. Is it South Asia? No. Is it West Africa? 100% West Africa in the Nigerian area, as they had killed many people there recently in attacks, and they are associated with the ISIS there. Now, moving forward to the last question with respect to the current affairs, it says World Employment and Social Outlook report was brought out by which of the following organizations? Is it WHO? No. Is it World Bank? No. Is it IMF? No. Is it ILO? 100% it is ILO. So correct answer for this question is option D. So with this we complete today's discussion with respect to the current affairs. Now let's have a discussion on the static. Today's static topic is the classification of the Constitution. In the last class, we discussed about the Constitution. We discussed about it is the supreme law of the land, whether good or bad, whether dictatorial, whether democratic. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It shows you the boundaries under which you have to work. It gives you the rights. It gives you the duties. It separates the government officials. It separates the powers. It does everything in a particular country. So Constitution, it is the supreme law of the land, and the people following the Constitution cannot go beyond the Constitution, whether good or bad. It does not matter. So here we have to discuss about the classification of the Constitution. On our book, which is Lakshmikant, it has classified Constitution into four ways. First, evolved and enacted. What is evolved Constitution? It has evolved by itself. There was no committee to made to develop the Constitution. It has evolved by the evolution itself, by the norms itself, by the culture itself, by the judicial orders itself, by procedures which people follow itself. So it is very much flexible. There is huge scope for the innovation in it. It is very much flexible. It can be amended easily. With respect to the enacted Constitution, it is one for which the people who came together, either king or the people who are meant for this, they came together, they framed this Constitution. It has a well documentation, and the amending process in the enacted Constitution is little rigid. So this is the basic definition between evolved and enacted Constitution. Similarly, written and unwritten Constitution. This written Constitution is similar to the enacted Constitution. For that, a committee is set up. They develop the Constitution. They make the rules. They make the laws. And for one of the feature of the written Constitution is it is basically rigid. You can, for making any amendment, you have to go for the special procedures. Similarly, unwritten Constitution is similar to the evolved Constitution. It evolves by the culture. It evolves by the judicial decisions, and all that stuff which we discussed in the evolved itself. So it is another definition for the, we can say it can be the another definition for the evolved is unwritten, for enacted is written. Then third type of classification is based on the rigid and flexibility. It depends upon how rigid the Constitution is, how easy it is to amend. If the amendment process is difficult, then it becomes rigid Constitution. So for example, India, we have the feature in our Constitution, the features of rigid as well as flexible are there. With some laws can be easily amended. For example, if there are laws with respect to the federal system, those laws are hard to amend. So we have both the features of rigidness and flexibility. And about flexibility, the amendments are very easy. Then the fourth classification, which the book itself discusses about, is the federal and unitary system. Federal constitution in which there is equal distribution of power between the center and the state. They are equal, they had came together, they enjoy the powers equally, they enjoy the autonomy, while as in the unitary system, the center is the supreme head, and nobody can go beyond the center, and those states in the unitary system cannot secede away. For example, our constitution, we have the quasi federal constitution. Our states did not came together, we are holding together constitution. Our states cannot secede away, as for example in earlier USSR, or we can say the USA's constitution is federal constitution. Their states by certain procedures can secede away from that country. So there is that is the definition of federal and unitary. And for evolved constitution, the evolved and unwritten constitution examples are of UK. For enacted and written constitution examples are of India and USA. With this, let's move to the question which can be framed from the article. Here the question says, which of the following statements accurately distinguishes between a written constitution and an unwritten constitution? First, a written constitution is codified in a single document, 100% correct, whereas unwritten constitution is derived from multiple sources including statutes, conventions and judicial decisions, 100% correct, nothing wrong with it. Second statement, an unwritten constitution is typically more rigid. No, it is incorrect, because unwritten constitution is very much flexible and amendment process is also flexible. So statement 2 is incorrect. Statement 3, a written constitution is flexible, totally incorrect. A written constitution is more rigid, and amendment process is rigid in this. So statement 3 is also incorrect. Coming to the statement 4, the primary advantage of an unwritten constitution is its clarity and precision, unlike a written constitution which can be vague and subject to various interpretations. 100% correct. That is the issue with our constitution too. There are various interpretations. That is why it takes the cases are piling up in our courts also. So with respect to this, the correct option is option 1 and option 4. And from the code given below, the correct code is option D. Now with this, we had completed today's discussion with the static topic also. Now let's move to the last part of our discussion, which discussing previous year questions. Here the question is, with respect to the cultural history of India, consider the following statements. Here I would like to say a few things here. We had already completed our prelims, pre ancient history based questions. We had completed our medieval based questions. Now we are about to complete our modern history based questions. So here the question is, with respect to the cultural history of India, consider the following statements. Statement 1, most of the Tyagaraja kritis are devotional songs in praise of Lord Krishna. Totally incorrect, because most of his devotional songs are in praise of Lord Ram. So statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 2, Tyagaraja created several new ragas. 100% correct, nothing wrong with it. So statement B is correct. Statement C, Annamacharya and Tyagaraja are contemporaries. Totally incorrect. Statement D, Annamacharya kirtans are devotional songs in praise of Lord Venkateshwar. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement B and statement D only. Coming to the last question of today's discussion, it is about the staple commodities of export by the English East India Company from Bengal in the middle of the 18th century were. First statement, raw cotton, oil seeds and opium. you know this statement seems correct, but let's look to the another statement. Statement B, sugar, salt, zinc and lead. When you see zinc and lead, and we know that East India Company, it was before 1857, so there was least importance of these elements, so we can mark it by our common sense. This statement is incorrect. Coming to the statement C, copper, silver, gold, spices and tea. Silver and gold from a particular state, you know it was not the a main purpose of the East India Company. They did their trade in tea, they did their trade in textiles, they did so. We can mark this incorrect also. Coming to the statement D, it is cotton, silk, saltpeter and opium. Saltpeter was one of the source of trade for them. So here, comparing it with the option 1, option D seems more correct. So, and it is more correct by simple, without knowing the question, without knowing the knowledge, we can we are left with two options, option A and option D. Here, saltpeter, it was the part of the trade, so we can definitely mark this is the correct option. So for this question, the correct option is option D. With this, let us conclude our discussion here. Let me request you guys, please do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and to subscribe the channel. Thank you.